For this second tutorial, we're going to look at putting the mounting holes into the lampshade and also creating the bulb holder, and we'll use the revolve feature again so we're getting really comfortable with the use of it. So if I look at it from the front view, I'm going to use the front work plane to create the holes for the sketch. So I'll be drawing them in the middle and then extruding them out of the lampshade to remove and obviously create the holes from that point. So I'm going to draw two circles, roughly in the right position, but without dimensions I don't know if they're exactly correct. So I'm going to use a dimension tool. The bottom one is going to be 6mm and the top one 8mm. After this I must remember to change my default units to millimeters, and it'll save me a little bit of time and hassle. I'm then going to measure how far these are from the bottom line. Okay, so if you measure them from the bottom, it's a nice consistent point of reference, so we're calling that the origin. This one is going to be 90mm above that bottom line, and this one's going to be 60mm above the bottom line. Hopefully them numbers will look about right, and I think we're quite comfortable with that. The top hole is going to be where the flex, the wire for the lamp, comes through, and the bottom hole is where we're going to mount the bracket that attaches to the whole stand for the lamp. I'm going to click the green tick to say that I've finished. I'm going to extrude both of those circles through. So I'm going to click sketch 2 as the part. I'm going to select remove, and I'm going to, instead of blind and putting a dimension in, I want it through all, but I want it also coming towards me. So I'm going to flip it with the arrow, and you'll see the holes being created on this side. I'm actually not very happy with that 60mm hole here. I'm going to move that further up the lamp. So I'm going to edit sketch 2, changing the 60mm to 70mm, and I think that will look better once I update it. There we go, and that does. It's not too close to that crease now. The next part is creating a bulb holder. So this is the plastic component that goes inside the lampshade. We're not going to worry too much about the mechanics of exactly how it's being held in place. We're going to make it look as good as we can. We don't want to overcomplicate things at this stage. We're going to look at it from the right, so the holes are just out of the way, they're not impeding our view. And I'm going to change the view. So the cube on the side here is currently in shaded. We're going to change that to hidden edges visible, and you can see this grey line going around the inside and a black line for the outline. Makes it really clear what we're doing. We're going to create a new sketch, and we're going to use the right work plane. This is going to be our bulb holder, so we're going to draw a rectangle in the center here and a circle in the middle of that, which mimics this line at the top. We're going to set the dimension a certain distance from the center line. We're going to make that 28mm, and that'll just give us an extra millimeters gap all the way around. And we're going to go, I've clicked the wrong one there, sorry. We're going to use a dimension tool to dimension this right hand side too, and that also has to be 28mm just in there. Okay, so we're looking about right now. This line and this line need to be on the same point, so we're making that 0, so that 1mm gap follows all the way around. And the last bit to measure is the distance this is from the bottom, and I'm going to make that about 60mm, and you'll see that's just poking out slightly above there. I actually want it poking the other way, so I'm going to make that less, so I'm going to make it 50. I've not put my units in, so let's go back, change that. That's my fault for not doing default units just yet. So 50mm and a tick. See, it's just poking just through, which is what I wanted. I then want space for the bulb, so I'm going to create another rectangle in here. And yes, I'm doing some additional steps that once you get really familiar with the software you won't need to do, but hopefully it makes it make a little bit more sense at this stage. So the width of this, the distance from there, is going to be just 20mm, so it should give it about an 8mm gap on the side. So again, helps if I put millimeters. That's done. Match it up the same, 20 millimeters, and then the depth of this bulb as well. We want that to be, let's say 20 as well, maybe 25 millimeters. We'll up that to 30 just to give that bulb a little bit more space. Okay, so there we go. We've created that shape so far. We can't actually revolve that. I haven't put the axes in, so let's go back into the sketch. We want to create the axes, so we're going to cut it in half, and that'll give us a nice straight edge to revolve it round, and then we're going to use a scissors to tidy it all up. So use a scissors now to cut away. We just want to keep this half, so let's get rid of all these lines. Looks like it's got rid of a line down here that we would like to keep. Just going to draw that one back in. So you see we've got that solid shaded area that we want to keep. Back to the scissors. And there we go. We've got that solid shape there to revolve, and we've got an edge that we can use for our revolve feature as well. So it should, all in all, work pretty well. So let's click the tick, go to revolve, and we know the shape that we want to do. We want sketch 3, and the revolve axis is that vertical line there. What I'm going to do at this stage is just rotate my view so I can see inside, so I can see the bit that I'm actually creating, and I'm going to change it back to shaded on the side, and you can see my bulb holder coming along quite nicely. The last bit to finish a bulb holder is these holes. We need them to match up perfectly. So we're going to go again, we're going to look at it from the front. However, this time we don't want the holes to start from the centre and come out, so we're going to need to create a work plane. We're going to use the plane feature at the top here. We're going to click on front work plane, and we'll create an offset work plane. So we just want to drag it this way. I'd say about 60 millimeters is more than enough at this stage. And click tick. Just before we go any further, 3 lines, workspace units, changing it to millimeters. Help me make less mistakes in future tutorials. We're now going to draw a sketch onto plane 1, which is in line with the front, so we're going to view it from that front plane. I'm going to create a hole, or 2 holes, that line up with those that already exist. So let's dimension everything as we did earlier on. So if we remember, it's always good to make notes in front of you to help remember this. But that one was 70 and the upper one was 90. I may have said before, I can't actually remember which was which. So the bottom one I think is our flex, and our top one will be our mounting bracket. I might have said it the other way around before, which was just wrong, so I apologise for that. That was an 8mm diameter, and the bottom one was a 6mm diameter. There we go. So my holes are ready to create. So let's take it to a 3D view. We're going to extrude, sketch 4, and we're going to remove. This part's important, merge scope. We want it to be coming from the bulb holder, not from the lampshade. So merge scope, and it's part 2 that we want to take from. If we look at it from the left, we can see exactly how far into the bulb holder these are going. So we just want to take them in slightly. Again, you can change this on the right hand side to hidden edges visible, and we'll make it go all the way through to this part here. So the depth it's saying is 40mm. If I take that 45 just to make sure there's enough going through, and I'm going to click the green tick from that point. Let's turn shaded back on, and we'll have a little look around so we can see that the mounting holes are looking like they're getting there now. Good. There we go. So again, our flex is going to come out the top one, and our mounting is at the bottom. I think that's the third different combination I've given you, but that is the right one. So our flex out the top, our wire out of the top, and this is going to be our mounting bracket at the bottom. So we're going to put a little nut holder on the side here so that you can put the mounting bracket in and it will hold the nut for you, because it would be very difficult to put that in yourself. So we're actually going to create that on the front work plane. We're going to create a new sketch, and we're going to create a polygon. The polygon is going to have 6 sides, it's going to be a hexagon, but we want to view this from the same side as the holes, because it's just going to go over that circle there. So let's draw our polygon. We'll just draw it out roughly in the right place, and we want 6 sides, and we're going to dimension just one of those lines as 6 millimeters. The distance of the center of that to the base must match the hole, which was 70, and it will overlap quite nicely on there. That sketch is now finished, and we can extrude it now. If we look back from the inside, we'll see that we don't want to go all the way, we want a decent depth to it. So remove, making sure merge scope is with the bulb holder part 2, and the faces to extrude, sorry I haven't even selected that yet, is that sketch 5. It's going the wrong way, so if we click the arrow we want it going in to go that side. A nice way to view it is the same that we keep flicking between, hidden edges visible, and if we view it from the right hand side you can see if we're going all the way through or not. That's quite a nice distance. We might be able to push it to 30, but I don't think there's much need. We'll just see what that looks like. 30 is going a bit too close to the edge, so we'll go back to 25. And then I'm going to click tick to say that's finished. I know it's not going all the way through. I can see it's looking quite detailed, quite good in there now, shaded, and I can have a look around, and that's where the nut would hold itself while you put the mounting bracket through and tighten it up. So that's our bulb holder done, and I'm pretty sure that we're not going to touch the lampshade from this point either, so we're ready to move on to a decent point. Good luck.